Hi, good evening, Miss Yuna and my college. We are from Group ComLaw, Communication Law Faculty, and today we would like to present our journal, Communication Behavior of Gen X and Gen Z in Decision Making at the Workplace. I'm Ruth Melinda, and this is our group member, is Andren Wijaya, Feby Ferolina, Hans Sebastian, Medila Siska Arini, Mutiara Aryani Kusuma, Ruth Melinda, Sela Seliani Togar, and Vicky Menandali. Our presentation today consists of introduction, study methods, matrix research, content of discussion, conclusion, and recommendation. First, Mutiara will talk about the introduction of our journal.
Okay, thank you, Ruth. Hi guys, I wanted to take a moment to explain why we choose this title. As you know, communication plays a crucial role in the workplace, encompassing various forms, including intergenerational communication. In this regard, intergenerational communication style, specifically those of Gen X and Gen Z, have the potential to influence their communication dynamic in the workplace, such as decision making. However, the significantly different communication style of Gen X and Gen Z can pose challenges. Each generation has different communication style, preferences, and expectation. Based on all the aforementioned points, we are interested in further examining how the communication style of Gen X and Gen Z influence decision making in the workplace. Okay, that's all I have for why we choose this topic. For the next slide, my friend Pebby will give you the information about our research method.
Okay,
Pebby,
thank you, Mutiara. So we are going to talk about research method. Our research is a qualitative research using literature study or literature review as the method of data collecting employed in this study. Next slide. And the next is a research model. The model used in this journal is the Newcomb communication model. The Newcomb communication model was introduced by Theodore Newcomb from the University of Michigan in 1953, who provide a different approach to the communication process. The main objective of this model is introduce the world's communication in the social relationship, society, and the maintain social balance within the social system. Okay, next Sheila will present the matrix research. Thank you, Sheila, please.
Okay, next is metric research. There are 5 previous research related to our journal that we have in our PowerPoint. So the first research is transformative leadership style for Gen Z by Ferus Hardian and Eric Hermawan. This is qualitative research with no specific respondents, as it's using literature study from international journals and books as its research method. This research aims to provide an overview of transformative leadership, dimension, consequences, and application concept in various institutions such as businesses, publics, educationals, and socials, then see its application suitability toward Gen Z. From this research, we conclude that transformative leadership can be used in these various institutions and is suitable for Gen Z, which is generally known to be very creative, trendy, and tends to want to be treated uniquely and want to be involved in a participatory manner in making decisions. The second research is the differences in communication style in baby boomers, Generation X, and Generation Y in the company by Dinda Alfatoni. This research is using quantitative research. The respondents are baby boomers, Gen X, and Gen Y in the cities of Bekasi, Jakarta, Yogyakarta, and Semarang. This research also using theoretical references from international journal and books and use an online questionnaire. The purpose of this research is to determine whether there are differences in communication style through generation in organization. The conclusion of this research is there are variation of communication between generation. Compared to Gen X and Gen Y, the baby boomers tends to use a more aggressive communication style. The third title is Character of a Leader Principle in Generation Z by Santi Komalasari, Ceria Hermina, and ATC. This research is using theoretical references from international journals and books. The purpose of this research is to find out the principles of character of the leader that are suitable for Gen Z. From this research too, we know the possibility that in 2050, the leaders in Indonesia will come from Gen Z. Okay, the next slide will be presented by my friend Medila.
The next title is Analysis of the Gap Generation in Perspective Differences and Communication Patterns Among Employees of the BPJS Employment Branch Office in Bandar Lampung by Gisela Meldi. This research also using theoretical references from international journals and books. The purpose of this research is to understand the condition of the generation gap that occurs between each generation of employees and the management practices used by the branch manager of BPJS Ketenagakerjaan in Bandar Lampung in managing the generational differences among employees. Based on the differences in perspective and communication patterns, can be concluded that the communication patterns employed by the employees is faced by challenges in the communication process due to differences in opinions and communication style of each employees. And the last title is Internal Communication of Generation X and Generation Z at PT Arita Prima Indonesia Tbk by Asishiva Arya Cikamaida and Yugi Setyanto. This research is using qualitative research. Respondents in this research were Generation X and Generation Z employees at PT Arita Prima Indonesia. This research examines the internal communication across generations between Generation X and Gen Z at PT Arita Prima Indonesia Tbk. And from this research, we can conclude that internal communication across generation between Generation X and Z at PT Arita Prima Indonesia Tbk runs smoothly, and if someone problems occur, they look for ways to ensure that internal communication with the company continues to run well and does not have a negative impact on its performance. The next slide is about generation and work environment. Generation is defined as a group of people who have collectively experienced life events such as social, political, historical, economic, and general aspects. Generational differences influenced by the development of time and technology in the workplace can affect work activities. This is due to differences in communication style, information acquisition, and thinking processes among generations. Generations in the workplace are categorized as baby boomer generation, Generation X, millennials, and Generation Z. And the next slide will present by Hans.
Okay, thank you, Merila. So, as the title suggests, our journal specifically discusses Gen X and Gen Z. But before we proceed any further, I would like to talk a bit about these generations themselves. So, first things first, what is Gen X? Gen X is the name to describe those who were born between 1965 and 1980. They were the first generation to embrace digital technology. In terms of communication, Gen X leans towards theoretical communication patterns, placing importance on coordination systems and decision-making processes that align with the established communication channels within their respective companies. On the other hand, what is Gen Z? Gen Z is the word to describe those who were born between 1996 and 2010. They are the following generations after the millennials, who are best known for being born and raised in an era dominated by digital technology and the internet. Gen Z is also known to actively avoid dominant communication styles that are controlling and rule-based. They firmly believe in transparent communications that encourages prompt feedback. For the next part, will be continued by Andrea.
Okay, thank you, Hans. So, guys, let me tell you about the communication styles in organizations. So, I believe that every person has a unique way of communicating, even at work. This communication style can be influenced by various factors like age and even personality. In their book titled Business Communications, Kreitner and Kaneki divide the communication style into three different styles. First, passive communication style is characterized by the communicators that avoid to express their feelings, ideas, and expectations directly. They often smile and try to please others, even though their minds say the opposite thoughts. Second, aggressive communication style is characterized by the communicator that tends to easily express their feelings, desires, and thought while often disregarding the rights and emotion of others. They tend to rely on power to emphasize their message. Last, we have assertive communication style is characterized by the communicator that involves making direct statements while considering the feelings, ideas, and expectations of others. They also demonstrate strength and empathy by open to compromise, negotiations, and both accepting and providing complaints. So those are the three communication styles from Greitner and Kaneki. And based on my explanations, if you're considering to use the assertive communication style, you can further amplify the impact by synergizing it with the success principle, as outlined in Jeep and then Heath's insightful book, Made to Stick. So I'm going to break down the acronym SUCCESS. So S stands for simplicity, is when you need to keep your message clear and concise using plain language that everyone can understand. And U stands for unexpectedness, is when you need to make your message have a unique phrases and analogies to make it outstanding. And the first C, concreteness, is when your message should be specific and fact-based. And the second C stands for credibility, is when your message is based on reliable sources or your own relevant experience. And E stands for emotion, is when your message can show empathy to make it more impactful. And S stands for stories, is when your message is containing your personal experience so it be more relevant to others. So that's all I have. For the next, my friend Vicky would share the information about the example conflict that could be happen in a workplace. Vicky, please.
Thank you, Andrian. I'll continue with conflict between Generation X and Z in the workplace. As we know, the communication style and pattern of Gen X and Z are significantly different. This sometimes leads to conflict in the workplace. So here's some example. First, Gen X generally focus more on career stability and personal achievement. On the other hand, Gen Z tends to prioritize flexibility and finding meaning in their work. Second, Gen X has experienced significant technological transition throughout their career, but may not be as proficient as Gen Z in the term of digital technology. Meanwhile, Gen Z grew up with modern technology and is more familiar with digital tools. Third, Gen X is more accustomed to face-to-face and telephone communication, while Gen Z relies more on text messages, emails, and social media platforms. Last but not least, Gen X may have a preference for more authoritarian leadership style as they often grew up in a more traditional business culture. Meanwhile, Gen Z tends to seek leaders who are more collaborative, open, and provide autonomy. Next, decision making. First thing first, we have to know the meaning of the decision making. According to Dermawan 2004, decision making is the science and art of selecting alternative solution or action in order to solve problems. And according to Kendall and Montgomery 1997, the aspect of decision making include first, circumstances, things that are stable or beyond control of decision making, such as external event. Second, desires, expectation, and goals or preference include everything that is desired and preferred in making decision, including goals, dreams, and interests. Third, emotion refer to the positive or negative moods to different situations and people. Fourth, action refer to active decision to making action. And last, belief is a determination that refer to a hypothesis about consequences. Next, the conclusion will be explained by my friend.
Okay, thank you, Vicky. So the conclusion of our journal is Gen X and Gen Z have different communication style. People belonging to Gen X quite open to advice and critique, and they value it when it helps them to be more productive at work. According to them, it is critical to give top priority to decision-making procedure and coordination system that are in line with internal communication channel. However, Gen Z actively avoid dominant communication style that are controlling and role-based. Both of generation believe that communication should be as transparent as possible and they require immediate feedback. Based on our research, there are differences in communication style between Gen X and Gen Z in the workplace that affect decision making, especially regarding desire, expectation, and goals, as both generations have different priority goals and expectations. Based on our research too, we would like to suggest a recommendation of communication style that can be used by Gen X and Gen Z in communication, especially while making effective decisions at work. Is assertive communication. Why? Because the key of this communication style is mutual respect, which can provide comfort to each other to discuss issue and find common ground. So thank you for your attention. We are open for discussion. Okay, so we have question from Nasul Harris from Economic and Business Faculty, major in management. I would like to know about what is the reason for researching this topic. Okay, maybe Sela can help us to answer the question, please.
Okay. Through this research, we want to know whether there are any differences in communication style between Gen X and Gen Z in workplace. As we are students from the Faculty of Communication, it's interesting to see if these two generations who are years apart can really work well in an organization together. Then, because communication style is a way of working, communicating, where the people involved seek the best way to convey the message from communicator to the recipient. We want to understand the most effective communication style for both generation in organization or companies. That's all my answer.
Okay, thank you, Sela. Okay, Haris. We hope that our answer is enough for you, and thank you guys for your attention and good evening. Bye.